Hello everybody, welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to pick up on day 5 of California versus Monica Sementilli. We've been following the trial all week. We did a catch-up all week into even Saturday, and here we are live, and they were scheduled to go on at 9 their time, 12 Eastern, and that got pushed now to 1 o'clock Eastern or 10 o'clock Pacific. So let's see who is in our chat today. Who's with us? Ola, you are first. Are you first? Let me see. Who is first? Christine Aitken was first. Kristen, limited edition. Good to see you as well. Ola. Lily Wayne. Shirley. Pammy is with us. Widespread Panic. Only Fan. Ken Rosenberg. Hello, hello. Good to see you guys. Therapist you know. Hello. Good morning probably still for you. Irish Amy. Great to see you. Yeah, Christine, we wanted to cover Colin Griffith, and we were going to. We were already set for to cover him, and then they switched out. We thought it was going to start Monday with jury selection, then Tuesday we were going to pick up on it, but then they switched it out until we thought it was going to be the following week, so we picked up on Sementilli, and then they ended up going with Colin Griffith, and we thought, well, let's put a toe in there and check it out. But all in all, I think it's a trial that we'll just do a rewatch on at some point. We want to cover Megan Boswell. That's the other one we're going to cover. She starts, jury selection starts today. So we're going to use our mornings from 9 until noon, covering Megan Boswell, and then we'll pick up on Monica Sementilli in the afternoons. So that's what we're kind of planning on doing this week into next week. My ears are blocked today. Ugh, hate that. Basi Muma, hello to you. Thank you for joining us. Mandy Strong, Ahisma, good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend as well. Ken Rosenberg. Queen Alvruthan, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Salty Girl. Oh yeah, Mandy, how was your, did you start your first job? Or did you start your first day at work? Was that today? Did you start that today? All right, so while we wait, we have some time now. Oh, let's see. Mandy's saying the chats are divisive in the Colin case. People getting ugly. Yeah. I'm sure. Hey, Willow. Good to see you. Widespread Panic watching Colin Griffin on another channel, but the host is so irritating. Trial TV Live has totally spoiled me, allowing to watch for myself and form my opinion before commenting. Well, thank you, Widespread. We appreciate that. Irish Amy, the evidence against Monica is really shocking now. I've actually taken in the openings. Yeah, there's a lot. I got to let little Rafa out. Hey, buddy, you want to go out? All right, go on. Out you go. Out you go. I got a blocked ear. It stinks.
Moving slow.
Is Rafa male or female? He is male. He's our little boy. And Polly is female. And Superball is female. So we got 2 girls and 1 boy. Lily Wayne, the Megan Boswell case is so tragic. Agreed. I'm always interested in the person who does these horrible things. What makes them tick? Yeah. Yeah, we'll cover that. We'll cover that trial. Ahisma. Cute orange kitty. Yes, that was Rafa. Mandy Strong. What are the chances you delete both parents 8 months apart in self-defense? Yikes. Is the second one too? His mother, right? That's Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Dad was self-defense for sure. He's saying came at him with a gun or knife or whatever, and then his mom was attacking him. Will Johnson, all orange cats need to go outside. Festive Graham, how precious. Jags Girl 95, good morning to you. Yeah, we were watching Gazella Grizzly yesterday with her trial prep. We did our own trial prep back in December, and we put together like all the news clippings and all of her pre-trials. So it is a tangled web. Megan Boswell is a tangled web. Irish Amy, hey Rafa, I have 3 girl kitties. They say hi to Superball, Rafa, and Polly. So cute. Aw, we'll say hi to your 3 little kitties.
And where's Superball right now in the cupboard?
Superball's upstairs in a cupboard. She's.
They had a rough morning.
Yeah, we had our power pole was replaced, so that's why we were without power until about 10:30 or so, 11, whenever it was. So the kitties have had sort of a rough morning. Willow Johnson says Bubba runs the neighborhood. Is that Bubba? Your profile picture is Bubba. Widespread says, I have 2 oranges and they're constantly trying to escape. Too much traffic in our neighborhood to let them out. Yeah. Yeah, these 2, Rafa and Polly, were born in here. They were born around here, so that's why we're comfortable leaving them outside. But Superball was born elsewhere, so we do not let her out, even though she wants to. She tries to get outside.
It's too scary for her.
Lily Wayne, yeah, you watched Gazelle part 1 and 2 on the Boswell case. Yeah, we watched that as well. Gisela?
Gisela.
Gisela.
I know people named Gisela, and I want to say it Gisela.
Yeah.
Gisela.
I'll just say Grizzly. Bubba's cute. Jags Girl 95. Haha, it is afternoon. It's been a day. Ready for trial time. Yep. I'm assuming you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. Jags Girl. Yeah, we've thought about putting Superball on a harness and a leash. We thought about that.
Yeah, that thought is not a good idea.
Hey, Hellcat, how are you? Good morning to you. I really like her channel too. Yep. Let's see. Oops, I want to pull this one up. Willow. Bubba is your profile. Aw, no Bubba. Ken Rosenberg, there's a part of me that I'd love to interview some of these folks. A bit of dark fascination. Absolutely. You know, there was Criminal Minds was a series that Aaron and I watched, which is the FBI, the 2 FBI gentlemen that started the whole interviewing of serial killers, and love that. I love that series. Mandy, I did not. I totally actually forgot. I'm sorry until you just reminded me. Totally forgot. I should have. I will, let's see, tonight. I will watch it tonight because I won't be doing my Saturday and Sunday thing, so I'll get to it. Yes, some would say sadly. Yeah, they weren't too good. Hey, trust me, I'm a long-suffering fan from a city that hasn't had a championship in a generation. Actually, probably 2 generations. So I get it. Yeah, some people walk their cats on leads like dogs. I agree. All right, so we'll let's talk a little bit about Monica Sementilli. This took place outside of LA, Woodland Hills, which is about, let's see, it looks like it's maybe 5 or 10 miles to the northwest of LA. Well, here, let's pull up some stuff. Let's see. Let's watch the video tour. This is the video tour of the house. So we watched this the other day, but let's watch it again because it's pretty cool. Let's see. Why is this not coming up? All right, bear with me for a moment. All right, so this is Fabio and Monica's house. So let's check this out.
Hi, I'm Desiree Zuckerman, and I'd love to give you a tour of 5012 Queen Victoria Road. It's in the beautiful Forest Hills Estates, south of the Boulevard of Woodland Hills. Come on in and let's take a look. This home features an open floor plan. The living room flows very nicely off of the grand entry with double doors into the formal dining room. The formal dining room is right off of the kitchen for easy access. Lots of windows and doors again that take advantage of the entertainer's yard. The living room and dining room area flow back into the kitchen. Again, great for entertaining. Tons of cabinet space, granite counters, lots of storage. There's a built-in Sub-Zero fridge. We have a great stainless hood, double ovens. Again, just lots of counter space. And then the kitchen itself has a French door that leads out to the barbecue area, so you can take the food out for entertaining. The kitchen also has a breakfast nook for in-kitchen dining. The home is also equipped with a 4-camera security system. There are 3 bedroom suites down and a bedroom plus a bonus room up. 2 of the bedroom suites down share a Jack and Jill bath. They both have French sliding doors out to the yard. There's a lovely downstairs master suite, which features a large walk-in closet, private master bath. There's a beautiful marble fireplace and glass sliding doors out to the yard. The master bath features his and her vanities and a sunken spa tub. There is also a separate shower with glass doors and custom tile work. Upstairs there's a bedroom with a private bath. There's also a large bonus room, which could be an office, home theater, or an extra family room. This property is security gated. There's a stamped concrete driveway and 3-car garage, with lots of storage and direct access into the home. The exterior of the property is extremely private. The lot is approximately 17,000 square feet. There's tons of lush landscaping and beautiful, fully grown mature trees. There's a large redwood deck, which outlines the swimmer's pool and a spa. There's great shaded areas for dining and eating and relaxing. There's an eating area with a counter and a sink that leads back into the kitchen, makes it great for entertaining. There's lots of private pathways and little hidden grottos in this property. There's a fun little hideaway kids tree house on the property. Lots of room for hide and go seek. This home is located in the Forest Hills neighborhood, south of the Boulevard in Woodland Hills. It's very quaint, nestled among hills and decorated with the famous deodora trees. There's only about 40 homes. There is an active homeowners association, but it's a modest $250 a year, and everyone watches out for each other. Great area to walk, bike, and hike.
So interesting, right? Because that was 11 years ago, so that would put it at 2014, yet the incident happened in 2017. So why did they make that video to try and sell it? I'm not quite understanding that. Yeah, OnlyFans, it was 3 years before. 3 years before. Therapist, direct access into the home sounds so creepy now. Yeah, because that sliding door into the master bedroom was ajar. Not that it really matters because, Monica basically let them in. Yeah. Will Johnson, oh, by the way, someone was unalived here too. I know. Hey, Fala, good to see you. Glad that you are with us. Yeah, Shirley Roth, this home has a ghost. Hizma says, I miss California. Daughters are definitely standing by her from everything I've seen. Hey, Deanna, thank you for joining us. They wanted to get away from the HOA. Yeah, and it was only like $200 a year, right? That's a modest $200 a year. That doesn't sound right. So that's that. And just to show you where this is located, let's see. See if I can get my my map to show up here. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Of course, I'm having troubles with this. Come on. It's not interacting. I wanted to show you where this is in relationship to everything else, but my map is acting up. Let me try something else. All right, so it's definitely okay. There we go. All right. So 5012 Queen Victoria Road sounds pretty, right? Let's see. So there's Ventura Boulevard. There, Ventura Boulevard. We've all heard that in songs and whatnot. There's Encino, Topanga State Park, Pacific Palisades, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, West Hollywood. So there's Griffith Observatory, and of course LA's right there. So they're pretty close. All the wildfires that are going on, or were going on. So that's where they are. So they're pretty close to LA. So I don't know how far a drive that is. I mean, by LA standards, it could be 2 hours, but it looks like it's only like maybe, 15 miles or something. I'm not sure how far it is. Well, here, let's get directions. Let's look at the airport. How far? 28 miles to the airport. So, yeah. It's like maybe 25 miles from quote unquote downtown LA, which I know there's really not a downtown LA, but so that just shows you, what we're looking at here. Doing a check-in here on the feed, see if anything. Let's see, they're saying still 1 o'clock Eastern. So we heard from Ryan Verna, day 3 and day 4. He was on at the end of day 3, and then actually he was the first. He was the second witness overall, but the first witness on day 3, and then the last witness on day 3. And then he came back, and he was on all day of day 4. So what are some things that we heard? What are some interesting things that we heard from Mr. Ryan? He interviewed. He had his partner, Parcells, Gene Parcells, and he was like just hammered with phone calls right after this happened. For the weeks and months afterwards, Monica called him like I think 6 times, doing my usual Monday call check-in. She kept asking about DNA, was there a struggle? She's asking all these very, very strange questions. She said that she just had she said costume jewelry, but she had gold necklaces, pearls, silver bracelets, gold earrings. Not so sure that's costumey, but I guess to her, or somebody said costume jewelry. Yeah, and she asked, do you think he fought back? Do you think it was a struggle? Hey, Mona, good to see you. Does the judge have a, let me see. Judge have a 30-minute feed delay? I don't know, because we've been doing catch-up, so I'm not sure, to be quite honest. This is the first time we're actually live. So I don't know, to be quite honest. I can't answer that question. This is the first time we've actually been live with them, so. Yeah, Shirley Roth, that makes no sense. They didn't the expensive stuff, but took the cheap stuff. Well, they didn't take his Rolex watch. They did take his Porsche, and they found that the next morning at like 5 o'clock. Drunky the Bear is with us. Good to see you. We're just waiting another 20 minutes or so. Hey Mona, I feel so badly for the detective having to listen to his partner's voice. His partner unalived himself in 2019. I've been looking up whatever's available. Thank you for that. I was wondering about that. Because you hear him in these interviews of 2017, and he doesn't sound that old. Like, he sounds like, right, he's in his 40s or 50s. That's a shame. No, Baca, they kicked it to 1 o'clock Eastern, so you are not late. They have pushed it to 1 o'clock. It was supposed to be 12, then they did 12:30, now 1 o'clock, so... oops. Christy Nakin, I think there was a 30-minute delay. Okay. Hold on. Hey, Mona says he was 51. That's a shame. Plea deal only fan? Only plea? Plea deal with who? With where? With what? With which case? Thank you for that, Mandy. For those that are coming in late, we're going to cover Megan Boswell starting tomorrow. Because since this trial doesn't start till noon, we'll do Megan's mornings and then afternoon, right? We'll do the morning from 9 to 12, and then we'll jump over to Sementilli, then we'll go back to Megan the next day, so at least we'll get something. Hey, Debbie Braverman, we hope. They were supposed to start at noon Eastern, and then they pushed it to 12:30, and now they're saying 1, and people are saying it's a half-hour delay. So we've only been doing rewatches or catch-ups, so we've never actually been live with this trial, so this is new to us. We're hoping that it starts soon. Ooh, Irish Amy, I haven't heard of the Megan Boswell case. Is it new or do I need to catch up? It's pretty rough. It's about a 13-month-old little girl named Evelyn who went missing in December of 2017, I think. And then they didn't report her missing. Megan Boswell didn't report her missing until February. And then she told like 4 or 5 different stories. And poor Evelyn was eventually found in Megan's father, so that would be Evelyn's grandfather's, on her property in Megan's childhood playground, and she was wrapped in blankets, tinfoil, like saran wrap, and then a garbage bag, and then stuffed in. It's horrible. But we did a pre-trial prep back in December because we thought it would go live then, but they pushed it to February. So jury selection is today. So we do have a primer if you want to check that out of her pretrial hearings and stuff like that. So it's she blamed her mom, she blamed the babysitter, and then her mom split with her boyfriend in a stolen car of Megan's boyfriend. I mean, it's a disaster. It's just a messed up story up there. So Krista asks, while we wait, why not tell us about Shoot the Shit with Squeegee this week? We are going to be talking with trial junkies. No, who are we talking with? Trial addicts. True crime addict. That's who we have on. Sorry, true crime addict. She is a content creator out of in England, and so we're going to be talking to her about British trials versus United States trials, which one she's covering, which one we're covering. We'll get to know her a little bit more, a little bit better. Lily Wayne says, we can multi-trial, we are experienced. Yeah, we used to dual stream back when we didn't have to have, somebody on all the time. That was fun. We used to dual stream a lot. Fala says, not always. There are plenty of times lots of us don't agree with squeegee. Fair enough. Pammy says, Irish Amy actually begins trial tomorrow, maybe? Jury selection? Jury selection is supposed to be today for Megan Boswell. So we're hoping it starts tomorrow. It may not. It could start today. Who knows? I don't know how quickly they're going to seat a juror. And yes, it is another child case. Yeah, 13-month-old, 2 feet tall, little peanut. She's a sweet little kid. Hey, Mona says, not much available regarding pretrial motion hearings in the Sementilli case. Yeah, that stinks. Yeah, I'd be showing them right now. Fair enough, Ola. Skip the Boswell case. You don't want to know any details. It's tough. I know, it's tough. Shirley Roth, what is wrong with people? I agree. Irish Amy sounds a bit like Summer Wells. How sad. I'll check out the video. Thank you. I don't know Summer Wells, but if you guys remember Leilani Simon, it's very, very similar. It sounds so similar to Leilani Simon out of Georgia. You know, where she did what she did, and then she was blaming everybody, and she was changing her story, and yeah. Pammy says, Ola, it is pretty rough. I'm drawn to child cases. Not sure why, but I feel I owe them attention. Yeah, Pammy, the way I feel is that with any trial, you know, I want to be a witness for these victims, you know, these people that, you know, and then especially children, you know, I don't want to shy away from it. It is tough. There's no question. It is tough. But we will stand and we will tell their story or help their story be told and have justice brought. Lily says, is there a trial today? We are sure hoping for it. They said noon, and then they kicked it to 12:30, and now they're saying 1. So we're just chatting and waiting for the feed to kick in. They keep saying 1 p.m., so we're waiting. Yeah, therapist, I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. Yeah, I got a stuffed up ear now. Therapist says 1,200 potential jurors being brought in. That's for Megan Boswell, I'm assuming. Yeah. Hey, Trial Junkies United. Hello to you. Good to see you. JM, hello to you. Hisma Canton, don't watch trials involving children. Understood. I understand that completely. Yeah, therapist. Very similar to Leilani, also Casey Anthony. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the Megan Boswell. For those that are just coming in, we're going to cover Megan Boswell. Her jury selection starts today, so once that trial kicks in, we're going to cover it in the mornings because these guys are in California, so clearly they're starting later, so we'll stream from 9 until noon. And might as well stream something that we want to watch. So that's going to be Megan Boswell. Lily Wayne and Lily, are we Lily squared? Nice. Ken Rosenberg, why do you say lawyers can't do anything right? What is that? What is that in reference to? Crystal H, I need to research the Megan Boswell. We did do a kind of a primer pre-trial prep. She is in Tennessee. Pretty sure that's in Tennessee. But yeah, if you if you go to our channel, you can check out. We did back in December. We thought it was going to start back in December, when everything was like rewatch and courts were shutting down. We thought, we thought it was going to start, but it was yet another pre-trial. So we did all the pre-trials. I think there was like at least 8 or 9, 10 pre-trials. So we watched all of those. We talked a little bit about it. I've learned a lot more after watching Grizzly over the weekend. It's a really complicated case because she has lied and told like 4 or 5 different stories. She's implicated like 3 or 4 different people, so it's complicated. There's a lot of moving parts to it, but I think I got a pretty good idea of what it is. OnlyFan, I don't know why, but plea deals make me warm and fuzzy inside. Hey Mona, I'm still planning on attending at least a few hours of this case, just not sure when. Very curious of the setup. The camera shows too much of one face. Yeah, hey Mona, if you can get in there, you know, let us come on and talk to us if you feel comfortable. Miss Kathy, hello, from Louisiana. Crystal H, what year did Boswell start? I think it was 2017. That's when she went missing, but then she was in December, but she wasn't reported missing until February. And now there's actually a legislation, there's a law, I think it's called Evelyn Boswell law, where if you don't, it's a law to not report a child under 12 missing within the first 12 minutes. Within 24 hours, if a child is 12 years or younger, you must report them missing. So, as sad as it is, you know, maybe that'll bring somebody in the future to not have the same thing happen, you know. Oh, here we go. So Aaron pulled up the recap of Boswell, if you want to go check that out. Oh, is Leslie with us? Hey Mona, cool. Definitely let us know. Did Leslie? Yeah, Leslie, hello to you. Good day to you. Yeah, it's hard to tag you, I think, because we can't tag you. Yeah, I tried tagging Leslie as well, therapist. So don't worry, Leslie, we are trying to tag you. Actually, they added a 20th charge, Crystal H. 20th charge, I think it was first degree, was the, yeah, because she lied like 12 times to the FBI and authorities. So, yeah, she has a lot of charges, and I think they added a 20th one, if I'm not mistaken. Lily Wayne, I'm so glad I found this channel or stream. I never know what is called what, but no politics, no religion, and friendly chat. Thank you. That is exactly what we are all about. Oh, there you go. Hey, Mona. Did that work? Leslie, did this work?
We were in the midst of listening to People's 51.
Even fast.
And people may continue.
Guys. Okay, we'll see you on the other side.
Should be on page 27 of the transcript. Am I correct on that?
When they did. You said to me a couple of weeks ago you were going to start interviewing people. Have you? Is and we have to build our case. We have to put everything together, and we don't really dictate how things go. It's just whatever we find out and whatever information we're provided with, it's not up to us to solve, to generate all this stuff. This stuff has to be found out and provided to us in different ways, and we have to build our case. We can't just go out and arrest someone because we think it's them. We have to have evidence. Is there any more evidence committed at all? I can't discuss none of my cases. I can't discuss any stated evidence or amount of evidence or anything with any of my victims or families or anything like that. I have to maintain the integrity of the investigation. I can't have information going out at this point, but I assure you this case will be solved. We're moving forward on it. There's a lot of things being done. I don't know how long it's going to take. So, we're making progress, though. And one of the things you want to do is I wanted to introduce you to a couple detectives that are working that other side of this, the whole burglary angle. And they had some additional questions for you. They wanted to go over a few more things with you, and they were hoping to do it Wednesday or Thursday this week. So I'm planning to call you at some point today and set up a time. Are you available both days, all day, or? Yes. Okay, well, let me find out when we can do this, and we're looking at Wednesday or Thursday. I'll give you a call later today with that time. Oh, I have another question. Can you tell me what it means, what aggressor means? Because the insurance company said that he hasn't been ruled out. What does that mean? That who hasn't been ruled out? Fabio has not been ruled out as an aggressor. What does that mean? He's not an aggressor? No, I have no idea what that means. Did they give you some type of... Yes, they said the questions that we're waiting for LAPD to answer, and which was supposed to be a while ago, and no one's called them back. Was it Fabio was a prior felon, or he was an aggressor? And if the beneficiary would need to be ruled out. That I already know, and they told me that a long time ago. No, I don't understand what ruled out as an aggressor. Why wouldn't he be ruled out already? Yeah. What are we waiting for? That question was never posed to me by anyone by insurance. So if we could definitely rule that out. So, I don't think it's going to change anything. Like I said, we have the other part that we're still dealing with, but as far as that goes, no, I don't think that was never posed to me or my boss either, because we both spoke to insurance people, and that was never anything explained to us or asked of us, so I don't know. Oh, God, this is ridiculous. Yeah. I don't even know what else. I don't know what else to do. I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. You've got to have faith that this thing will get resolved, and that it just takes time. And like I said, you saw the video. These guys have made it very difficult for us. So, no going, And you can't tell me anything, but you said stuff out of state, because it would be quicker. Right. Yeah, we're hoping that it'll be quicker. They were telling me 2 more weeks, and that was last week. So I'm gonna try to get an update from them this week, but a couple weeks, and for at least some of the stuff. So we're gonna keep bugging them. But one of those things that these things take time, and a lot of requests, and we're kind of going from there. Okay. I will call you later today, and we'll get together this week. Okay. Okay. Good. I don't know, No, that's fine. As long as we can, talk in private at some point. I think they want to kind of do a little walkthrough, and then they want to show you some, maybe some maps and stuff. So if we can just grab a room or something where we won't be interrupted, that would be okay.
Okay. Yeah, we can go in my room. We can do my room. Did you think maps?
Well, yeah, I think they want to go over some of the burglary hits they've had in the area there, and
oh my gosh, okay.
retrace your routes, when you went shopping and when you came back home and stuff like that. So
Okay.
so as long as we can, just get somewhat quiet and talk,
Yeah. Okay. Fine. That's great. We can
or
go
we
find
can
out more.
or the side patio or wherever.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, sounds good. We'll see
That's
you.
great. I'll see you Tuesday. Thank you. Okay. Bye. Hello?
Hi, Monica. This is Detective Parsha. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, listen, I talked to the burglary guys. They're having some big meeting in a couple weeks, and they wanted to hopefully, they anticipate more photos and stuff. They want to meet with you somewhere around, hopefully June 9th, if you're going to be around then.
Oh, okay.
Are you in town?
June 9th till 11, I will be in Toronto accepting a Lifetime Achievement Award for Fabio.
Oh, you told me about that. Okay, that's
Yeah.
the weekend. Okay.
Yeah. So I leave June 9th, so just before that or just after that?
Okay, so I don't think they're having a meeting till the 8th.
Okay.
But maybe the week of the 12th, 13th, 14th, you'll be back.
Okay, hang on because you're breaking up. Let me move over to the box. Hang on. Can you hear me now?
I can't. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, so maybe what I'll do is we should touch base on Monday. So I'll get over there on Monday and we'll find out when they're available that week. I haven't checked I don't know the schedule that far out, so I just know they have a meeting on the 8th. So I'll touch base with you basically on the 12th.
Okay, but can I also ask you for your email and or a send a password email?
Sure. My email is my cell number, which is 30601
Okay.
at LAPD
Okay.
.online.
.online. Okay.
And Detective Castro's is the same as mine, except it's 26287.
26287. That's Castro. Okay.
Okay, so we'll probably touch base before that, before you leave.
Yes.
Maybe, I'll talk to you. Today is Memorial Day, so I am off tomorrow. I'll be back on Tuesday, so we'll touch base on Tuesday. I don't think we're going to have anything between then and Tuesday, but, we'll check in on Tuesday with you.
Okay. Now I know. So I'm not sure how long you were at the event. Were you able to, speak with anybody or?
No, I didn't want to. There wasn't anyone I really needed to talk to. I think one of your friends was there. Was it Deborah or something?
Yes.
Okay, she was there. I remember her from the.
Yes.
Talked to her briefly. Didn't talk to anyone else. I know who Fabio's boss is. I have his name already.
Okay.
But no, we were just kind of low key, just hanging out back. We were there till the end, and then we had to split. I know you were probably busy at the end of that thing, so we just took off. But we saw the whole thing all the way through. I think it was really nice.
Yeah, they did a wonderful job.
What are they doing with that wall? I know you're asking about the wall that had Fabio's pictures all over it.
Yeah, I'm going to be traveling for the next 2 years, and then it's mine. So wherever we end up, that will be ours. We're selling the house now. I don't know where we're going to be in a month from now because I can't really do anything until I sell the house because I can't buy anything.
Is it on the market?
It's on the market with me. He's coming tomorrow, the realtor, to take pictures and stuff. I think June 9th and 10th, the agents will only open house for the agents will be here. So my realtor will have the key, and they'll be the only ones here showing the house that weekend.
Okay. All right.
So that's going to be going up for sale. what kind of business you guys can do, but MetLife called me this morning already, saying that there's only one last confirmation they need. I know you told me what you guys feel and think, but I guess they need it in writing. I don't even know.
That's the problem. I told them what my opinion was on this thing, but they want something in writing, and that's what the department is resisting at this point. So hopefully in a couple of weeks with this next meeting and stuff, that we're going to be further along. These guys.
If there's anything we can do to speed this up, I just don't, because I don't know what's happening within the next week to week here, day to day. So if there's anything we can do, please.
No, I will.
Let me know.
I'd love to get to that point that I could satisfy our higher ups and make that call, but they're asking for a little bit more. So we're hoping that these guys, the burglary task force, comes up with they got some good stuff right now. It's just not where we need to be. So we're hoping for that to come through, and I keep pushing these guys. I talk to them a couple times a week, and they give updates and stuff. So if I have anything I can pass on, or we can clear that whole thing up, and we will as soon as we can. We don't want you guys to be, to be stuck.
Yeah, I'm asking you for your emails because I was gonna. I always forget things, and I'd rather have this written down so I know what's happening. But anyway, my dad, was telling my mom, she's here in front of me now, to make sure that we tell you this thing that transpired when he was in Toronto with Fabio. Fabio was telling my dad something about work that he had to investigate because he had to fire somebody. And he was uncomfortable with it or upset by it. And I don't know all the details. I wanted my dad to tell you exactly what he said or what kind of happened with this. And so we reached out to him this morning, but he couldn't talk to these with other people. But I want to give him your phone number because I'm confused myself, and I want him to tell you what exactly Fabio told him.
Right.
I know that anything that has to do with work is on email. It's all documented, so I'm sure you can see that. But I don't know if it has to do with Geneva or the LA office. So maybe my dad could, reiterate what he heard.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I'm here, Monday through Thursday, every week, sometimes longer. But you can call me anytime, and I can always check it with the work. I'm in touch with I know the corporate security guy for and he can give me pretty much anything with the business. I mean, so far he's been real receptive to getting any kind of business documents I need. So he would be able to find out the particulars if your dad didn't have it.
Okay. So my dad can just call you, or do you want his number?
Either way, you can have him give me a call when he's available. Sounds like he's a busy man, but he can call me, leave a message, and I'll get back to him as soon as I can if you do that.
Okay, I'm gonna have him do that because he's kind of adamant about it. So I know we're all grasping at straws, but I think everything is gonna be something, at least something.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna have him call you.
Okay, yeah, we'll do.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. I'll wait to hear from you on the 30th or whatever you said. No, what did he say?
Yeah, the 30th.
The 12th?
30th.
Oh, okay, the 30th. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Hi, Monica. This is Marshall.
Yes, hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Good. Hey, listen. So I spoke to your dad last week.
Yeah.
And a couple questions. I wanted to follow up with some stuff. Who was Fabio's? Because I guess his boss is in Geneva, Switzerland, and asked Fabio to go to Toronto to do this investigation. Who was his boss at that time?
The only one I think I know, her name is Michelle Mason.
Michelle Mason.
Yeah.
And
she was also there that night at the event.
Right. I know you guys mentioned her. So she was the boss in January as well.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I mean, his boss is here, but that's the hiding. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. Can you hear me?
I said his boss here is Sal.
Right.
In North America, but the top guys are in Geneva.
Okay. And all right. And when you say Sal, that's Crescentini. I should have that somewhere. Oh, go ahead.
CRESCENTINI.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got that. And it's Orseo. O-R-S as in Sam.
No, F as in Frank.
S as in Frank. Okay, I'm glad I asked. Orseo. Okay. Okay, well, we're just gonna follow up on that a little bit. Your dad's document was kind of unusual, and I hadn't heard about that particular incident from anybody yet, so we'll take a look at that. So I got nothing else to report right now. We're moving forward on
What about you said you were going to call me with we were going to meet at some point next week or something like that, or week after?
They're having a meeting with a couple other agencies that they've been dealing with, and they anticipate to get some photos and stuff. So they were, I think they're supposed to meet on the 8th, but you weren't available on the 9th because that's when you're going to, I think, New York or Canada or something?
Yeah, both. Yeah, New York, Toronto, and then home again on the Monday or the Tuesday right after that.
Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it's the 13th.
Yeah, fixings are available on Thursday or Friday, so let's wait until we get to that week, and hopefully maybe something on the 15th or 16th.
Okay.
Together.
All right.
Okay? So I'll let you know if anything comes out of this whole Cody thing, and that was when the company was Cody, right?
Yeah, so I think that's still like in November or something like that.
Right.
He went to Cody, yeah.
And his first your dad said November, or second week of November, then he said second week of December. Is that right? December is when it's going to...
I can't even tell you.
Okay.
Because he travels so much, I don't even know. That's why my dad, I know he wasn't really certain of the details.
Right.
I just, said, just say what you heard, what you know. Don't, pull things out of nowhere.
Right. And any idea which accountant would have gone with him? Because your dad said he brought an accountant with him to really examine the books.
I have no idea.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure there's a
Chuck would know.
He would know, right.
Okay.
They would know, for sure.
Okay. Good enough. I can follow up with her, and hopefully she can give me some more information on that side.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Okay,
All right.
bye. Anyone?
Went good. Went good.
Doing good?
Yeah. So, like I said, we have our secretary typing up that letter, so we should be able to get that hopefully at the end of this week.
Okay. I have going on the computer and trying to download all these records. There's a lot, and it's really. Anyway, I did it all. I'm going to send them to you, but if it's hard for you to view or read or whatever, then maybe I can come to see you. We can log in, and you guys can look right on the actual AT&T whole accounts and stuff.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot just for the 1 month still?
Well, it's home phone, my cell, Jessica's cell, Bella's cell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you have Fabio's in there also?
Oh, I do have his, but I didn't because I thought you have his phone, so you could, or his computer, whatever. If you want, I could put his in there too.
Yeah, might as well, so we have it all. Because then, if they can, they'll take it. They'll just punch in. They'll search certain numbers. It shows that it'll find that number and whoever's records it is, and if it pops up, then we know this guy's tried to call or calls or whatever. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna add his in there too, and then I will. I guess email it. Yeah, I'll email it over to you.
In some type of file or envelope or is it?
Well, they're all right now. They're all. Like I tried to put them all in nice Word documents so they're legible.
Oh, okay.
I could probably do it on Excel as well.
Well, try the Word. That's always easier, and then we can use Excel as well. So try the Word, see how that works.
Okay, I'm going to send those over, and when you get it, open them, see what you think. If it looks, if you guys can read it and whatever, great. Otherwise, I can log in, like I said, and we could just go right there to the site.
Okay. Yeah, we may do that. If they know what numbers they're looking for, I don't. So let's.
Are we going to have a meeting? Did you say we're going to meet soon, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully this week. What's today? Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was off the last couple of days sick. Let me call them and see what their week is like. I think we could do it either this Friday or next Friday is what their 2 days are. So
oh my gosh.
Double check with these guys and see if they still want to show you those photos and stuff based on what they've gotten so far. So
Okay.
yeah. So let me get back to you. I don't know, can use to search. If not,
Okay.
in different format.
Okay, perfect. I will get that on there to you now, and then I'll send it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Talk to you.
You may collect the transcripts first.
Oh,
Collect the transcripts, please.
oh yes. Detective Berna, would it be fair to say that in any investigation you never divulge the details of what you are doing during that investigation?
That's correct.
In addition to what we heard during the recording of conversations between the defendant and Detective Parshall, were there also several dates where the defendant called and left recorded voicemails?
I believe so, yes.
Did the defendant leave voicemails on March 13th and March 15th of 2017? For you and your partner?
If I could refresh my recollection.
Yes.
That was March 13th and March 15th?
Yes.
Yes.
And as we heard in some of the recordings, for example, on March 8th of 2017, did Detective Parshall repeatedly tell the defendant that he would hook up a DVR or security system ASAP?
Yes.
We heard during the recorded call of March 16th of 2017 where the defendant was recorded telling Detective Parshall that she believed that his 3 kids are the only beneficiaries to his life insurance policy. Did she ever say anything else with respect to herself off tape?
Not that I'm aware of.
On the date of March 21st, did the defendant again call your office and leave 3 separate voicemails for you or Detective Parshall or your supervisor, Detective Castro, to call back?
Again, if you'd like me to look at the book, I can do so.
Please.
You said March 21st?
Yes, sir.
I don't show a number of calls. I do show that there was definitely a call.
Does it show that there are 3 voicemail messages from that date?
I don't see in the chronological that it shows that, just that there was definitely a conversation.
Okay.
Again, in the March 8th conversation that was recorded, we heard the defendant make the statement that Fabio had been the one to purchase and replace the DVR system. Did she ever make a statement to the opposite, that in fact she was the one that was home during that DVR replacement?
She did not.
In the April 17th, 2017 recorded call with the defendant, where we heard her claim that on the old system there was an app where Fabio could look up and see the video feed, but that she never had access. Did she ever correct or change that statement?
No.
When she said during that conversation that she was not present when the new DVR was installed and the only new camera was the one at the front door, did she ever correct or change those statements off tape?
No.
When the defendant claimed that she had no access to the system via her cell phone, did she ever change that statement off tape?
No.
Was there another call from the defendant that took place on May 1st of 2017?
There was.
And during that particular conversation, was there a conversation with her about whether or not she had yet replaced her DVR?
There was.
And during that conversation, did she indicate that State Farm Insurance, her homeowner's insurance policy, had paid out on her homeowner's claim in order to replace that DVR system?
Yes.
And at any time, did she tell you and or your partner or your supervisor, to your knowledge, that she had replaced the DVR?
She did not.
During the May 8, 2017 recorded call from the defendant, where she was talking about having difficulties due to the lack of life insurance money being paid out and looking for maybe a smaller home, did she ever mention at any point in time off tape that despite the fact that she was claiming she was having money issues, that she had just purchased a new Mustang for $62,000?
No.
You mentioned that both you and your partner, your supervisor, had conversations with MetLife, the carrier of Fabio Sementilli's life insurance policy. Was there ever any question about whether Fabio was an aggressor in his own murder?
Objection, calls for speculation.
As formed, sustained.
Was there any conversation that you had with the life insurance company about Fabio, the victim in this case, acting as an aggressor?
Objection, calls for speculation. No further.
That's overruled.
Not that I'm aware of.
There was no evidence to that effect. Is that correct?
There was none that I saw.
That wasn't the question with respect to the life insurance company. Is that correct?
Correct.
The issue was clearing the 4 beneficiaries. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you and your partner cleared 3 of them, that being Fabio's 3 children. Is that correct?
Correct.
So the only one that was outstanding with respect to your department and clearance for life insurance payout was the defendant.
Yes.
during the May 31st recorded call that we listened to, where Detective Parshall is talking to the defendant about her trip to New York City on the June 9th and then to Toronto and home on June 13th. At that point in time, was your division, along with the robbery and homicide division, already making plans to arrest the defendant along with Mr. Baker?
So my understanding is yes. However, I believe I was actually on vacation at the time. I was having conversations with my partner, so I was kept in the loop to some degree. But
You were aware that was...
Denied.
You were aware that that was imminent?
yes.
And on June 14th, where we heard the last recorded call between the defendant and your partner, where Detective Parshall indicated that your secretary is typing up a letter to get her by the end of the week for clearance for the life insurance payout. Was that a ruse?
Yes.
And what does that mean?
Essentially a story to tell them to, again, put them off a little bit longer, just to put them at ease.
Your Honor, of a photograph of a Ford Expedition. It's titled Robert Baker's Ford Expedition at Sementilli Home, dated March 11th of 2017. May this photograph be marked, please, as People's 53?
Yes.
And I also have a copy of an email exchange between the defendant and Detective Parshall. May it be marked, please, as People's 54?
It may.
Showing you People's 53. Was this a photograph that was sent to you and your partner by Deborah Obad showing Robert Baker's expedition parked in front of the Sementilli home?
Yes.
And was that received on March 11th of 2017?
Yes.
In terms of the conversation in the June 14th recording between the defendant and your partner with respect to the secretary typing up a letter to clear the defendant for insurance payout, did your partner document that conversation in writing?
Yes.
And do you know what we're looking at here in People's 54?
Yes.
And do you recognize this as an email, if we start from the bottom, between the defendant and your partner, Detective Parshall?
Yes.
And does this email chain talk about the letter to MetLife for clearing the defendant for insurance payout?
Yes.
And does this appear to be an email chain that took place between June 7th of 2017 and June 9th of 2017?
It does.
I just have a few last questions to ask you. We talked at the beginning of your testimony last week about various search warrants for phone records, subscriber records, call detail records, with respect to everyone in the Sementilli family, including the victim. Did you and your partner also have conversations with a surveillance unit to conduct surveillance on the two suspects, the defendant, along with Robert Baker?
We did.
Okay. And that particular division, is that the Gangs and Narcotics Division?
Yes.
And did you and or your partner obtain search warrants in order to install GPS trackers on the suspect's vehicle, that being the defendant and Robert Baker?
Yes.
And initially, were GPS trackers installed pursuant to warrants on the defendant's black Ford F-150?
Yes.
Also on Jessica Sementilli's red Fiat that the defendant occasionally drove?
I think Isabella's
Okay.
Fiat.
Thank you. And Robert Baker's black Ford Expedition that we saw in People's 53.
Yes.
In terms of the GPS trackers, did that allow you and your partner to track the travel or and destination from your computers?
Yes.
And is that through some type of software that connects to the GPS trackers?
It's actually a web browser that connects to the data that's being sent by the tracking device.
And does that data also include GPS coordinates?
It does.
Longitude and latitude?
Yes.
So you can track to a particular location?
Correct.
And did you also obtain a search warrant for cellular phone pings?
Yes.
What is that?
So your cellular phone hits off of cellular towers, and these phone companies have the ability to basically triangulate your phone's position based on cellular towers. Some phone companies are better than others as far as the information provided, but it can track you down to a particular area and then give you a plus or minus in a number of meters. And sometimes the hits are really good, sometimes they're absolute garbage.
So it's another way in order to track your suspects' travels and locations.
Correct.
And does that also provide through the phone pings GPS location and coordinates?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
Does it include coordinates?
As far as on the phone pings themselves? Yes. Again, it's plus or minus sometimes
Meters.
thousands of meters. Sometimes it's within 9 meters.
And did you do that through AT&T for the defendant's cellular phone and Sprint for Robert Baker's?
Yes.
And again, was that something that the phone pings that provided data that you could review again from your computers at the office?
Correct.
And did you get updated information from the Gangs and Narcotics Division as they were following and surveilling your suspects?
We did.
In addition to that, when you tracked the GPS trackers and the phone pings, did the information that you received appear to be consistent with the summaries of what Gangs and Narcotics was seeing in terms of tracking the defendant and Robert Baker to various bars and nightclubs?
Yes.
Also speculation.
The way the question was formed, that is true.
Did the data that you observed appear to be consistent with information you received from the people who were conducting surveillance?
That's what we're ruled.
It did.
And was that, again, consistent with the data, the defendant and Baker going to various bars and nightclubs night after night?
Yes.
And did those dates cover, let's say, the night of February 19th into the early morning hours of February 20th?
Can I refer to my notes?
Yes.
Okay, what was the date again? I'm sorry.
February 19th into February 20th?
Yes.
February 21st into the early morning hours of February 22nd,
Yes.
February 23rd into the early morning hours of February 24th,
Yes.
February 25th into the early morning hours of February 26th,
Yes.
and after the defendant returned from a trip to Toronto that we heard or discussed in the recordings, March 3rd to March 4th.
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Levine.
Thank you. Good morning, Detective Bernard.
Good morning.
Is it fair to say that following the results of the DNA comparison, which you said matched the DNA of Robert Baker, that you were convinced that Mr. Baker was one of the killers in the of Fabio Sementilli?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. And did you arrest him?
He was arrested ultimately, yes.
Well, you found out that his DNA matched, I believe, on February 14th, 2017. Is that correct?
Correct.
That was just a couple of weeks after the murder?
Yeah, roughly 3 weeks.
Okay. And how did you obtain those results?
Well, first we obtained the blood swabs from the house and also the Porsche. They were collected, booked as evidence, requested for processing, and ultimately we received the results back. That's how it works.
And at that time, you had sufficient evidence to arrest Mr. Baker. Is that correct?
I guess you could have done it right away, yeah.
Well, you had proof that his blood was among, or perhaps all of the blood that was found at the scene, in the car, at the house, in the rooms, everywhere involving the crime scene and this murder. Is that correct?
Yes.
You had no results, or did you, of a second individual?
As far as DNA results,
Yes.
we did not.
Okay. So everything matched Mr. Baker.
Correct.
It matched no other suspect.
Correct. We knew we had outstanding suspects, though.
So at that point, you could have gone out and arrested Mr. Baker
Sure.
and confronted him with the DNA and any other questions you wish to ask him, if you wish to answer them, obviously.
Sure.
You chose not to.
Absolutely.
Okay. You knew there was a second killer involved in this case, correct?
That's correct.
And I assume, obviously, your investigation was focused on finding the second killer as well as Mr. Baker, correct?
Yes.
And between the date of January 17th or 18th until the DNA results came in, from the day of the murder until the DNA results came in, this was an investigation in which you had no idea at that point who the killers might be, correct?
Correct.
And you had no suspicion involving Monica Sementilli.
No.
At some point, when the DNA results came back for Mr. Baker, did you go to Miss Sementilli and tell her that we had discovered that the killer, or one of the killers in this case, was Robert Baker?
No.
And the reason you didn't do that is you had some belief that perhaps Miss Sementilli was having some kind of relationship, affair, if you will, with Mr. Baker. Is that correct?
Well, no, not really. It wasn't until, I believe, the interview on February 21st of 2017 that there was any inclination that there was an affair happening. that I'm aware of. I think that was the first that I knew about something maybe going on.
And that was based on?
Well, when we interviewed Ms. Sementilli, and Jessica was also there, Jessica was the one that told us that Mr. Baker had slept over. She also denied that Baker was ever at the residence, so there was some questions there.
There were some questions there.
Yeah.
And at that point, you could have confronted her, obviously, with that evidence and asked her to explain, correct?
I mean, there was some effort to make some questions.
Well, I mean, did you ever confront her and say, were you having an affair with Robert Baker?
No.
You asked her if she knew the name of Baker, and she said she thought the name was Robert Baker, correct?
Correct.
And at a later interview with her, she volunteered to you, or in response to a question, that he was the racquetball coach, where she played racquetball at LA Fitness. Is that correct?
I think it was all around the same time, yes.
Okay. So she gave you what you believe was the name, which was, in fact, the correct name, Robert Baker. And
Yes.
she told you he was a racquetball coach at LA Fitness. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So again, you said at the beginning you had no suspicion about Mrs. Sementilli being involved with Mr. Baker in any way.
Up until that point, no.
Okay. So how much time had passed between the date that you received the DNA results matching Mr. Baker with the blood at the scene and in the car until you received some information, whether it was from Jessica or someone else, that Mr. Baker had been over the house or there'd been some contact with him?
I'm sorry, the date from the DNA hit to the date that we were pretty much advised of there was something going on?
Right, and you said that was based on some conversations with Jessica about
Right.
him having slept over and so forth.
Yeah, I guess it was roughly 7 days a week, somewhere around there.
Okay. And during that time, why didn't you tell Mrs. Sementilli that the DNA results had come back to match a Robert Baker?
Because it's my responsibility and my partner's responsibility to work this case. So we have a duty to not only figure out who one person is, but to figure out who the second suspect is and if anything else is going on.
Okay. So the second suspect, obviously, you were aware of was the second killer. Is that correct?
Well, what we had a video showing two people running towards the residence. We had a video showing the Porsche leaving with two individuals in the Porsche, and that's what we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your investigation initially, when you were there the first day, you had no preconceived ideas as to what had happened here other than tragically one individual had been brutally killed, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then you ended up viewing a video tape of somebody or two individuals jogging up Victoria Street from Oakdale. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the person who notified you or supplied you with the information that there might be videotape was Monica Sementilli, correct?
I don't believe she was the only person that told us about videotape. I mean, there's cameras right when you turn that corner. It's very easy to see.
I understand.
So it didn't require someone to tell us necessarily that there was videotape at the corner.
But she did tell you.
Okay.
Is that right?
I believe
You
so.
recall, and she gave you the name of the...
Yeah.
She mentioned it's the Homeowners Association.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she thought there were video cameras somewhere around the scene of the murder, correct?
I'll agree with you, yes.
And she gave you the name of some Leslie Hamilton and even a phone number and so forth to contact. Is
Yes.
that right?
Correct.
So she was providing you with information about cameras that perhaps had videoed or caught the two suspects coming up the street, correct?
Sure, yes.
And you eventually did obtain those videos, correct?
Yes.
And how did you do that?
There was a residence that was right there that had access to those videos, and they were recovered.
And you know how long that took?
It was that night. We had copies of it.
And were able to view them?
Yes.
Okay. And we've seen the video of those two individuals jogging up the street, correct?
I think the only thing I've seen in court here was a still image of it.
Okay, but there was a video of that as well.
Oh, yes.
And that video showed the individuals, when you adjust for time, and no one's questioning the times that you've given us after the adjustments. It was about 4:18 in the afternoon that you first see the two persons jogging up the street, correct?
I believe you're correct, yes.
All right. And how far approximately would it have been, if you know, from where they were first seen on the corner there to arrive at the home of Sementilli?
20, 30 seconds, I would say.
Okay. And then at some point, obviously, they had to enter the location.
Correct.
Now, in your investigation, either initially at the scene or sometime thereafter, were you able to determine, or at least in your mind, what route the two individuals had taken in order to get to Fabio Sementilli in the backyard or the patio?
Not exactly.
At some point, you believe that they had gone around the back and got him from behind. Is that correct?
That was the most likely scenario, yes.
Okay. And did you at all calculate about how long it would have taken for two individuals jogging up to have taken that route and confronted Fabio Sementilli?
I mean, if they did it without any kind of waiting, I would assume it would be very quick.
Okay.
I didn't run it myself to judge.
Now, can you tell us what time it was again that the video caught the Porsche vehicle leaving the residence?
I can look at my notes if you'd like.
If you would, please.
The time the Porsche leaves,
Yes.
correct? 16:53 hours.
That'd be 4:53 in the afternoon.
Yes.
And we know the 911 call was made about 5 o'clock, is that right? Or a few minutes before, do you know?
Roughly, Isabella got home about a minute later, so the 911 call went out quickly after that, yes.
And when you see she got in a minute later, can you place a time on that?
Well, on the camera, you can see the vehicle arrive at 4:54, so 1 minute later. So with time to get out of the vehicle, walk into the house, I mean, it's fairly quick after that.
So 1 minute after the two killers leave the location, Isabella Sementilli arrives at the house. Is that correct?
Correct.
That gave the killers about a minute to escape, correct?
Correct.
And Monica Sementilli arrived shortly thereafter, say 5 o'clock, is that correct?
I have it on the video at 5:03.
Okay. So, based on what you've previously told us, without any further information, the killers would have had how much time to travel from the front location or coming up the street in the back in order to commit the killing, the murder?
So from the time they are seen on video running around the corner to the time the Porsche is seen driving away, we have, let's see here, 35 minutes, if I'm doing my math correctly.
But you had some additional information regarding a time when Fabio Sementilli was still alive during that period. Is that right?
Correct.
You had information that he had placed a phone call to his company at 4:46 in the afternoon. Isn't that correct?
I'm not sure of the time. I don't think that sounds correct. I thought it was prior to. Do you have something you can show me? That would help out. But I believe it was prior
Well,
to.
you don't have that?
4:30. I don't. Sorry, I don't.
All right. I will find that for you.
Okay.
But rather than do it at this time, let's assume we're talking about 4:45, 4:46.
Okay. I'm not sure that's correct, but go ahead.
I promise you I'll
Okay.
Okay. For the sake of this question, if it is correct, then and he was alive at 4:46, then it would have been only a few minutes after that the murder had taken place, correct?
Assuming that's correct, yes.
And again, by that timetable, the murderers would have had approximately a minute or two to commit the murder, leave the location, and escape.
I'm going to object at this point because it assumes facts, not evidence.
You receive this as a hypothetical.
It's an improper hypothetical, Your Honor, because it's not based on fact.
I'm not so sure. It's overruled.
Do you understand the question?
So you're saying, no, repeat it, please.
Assuming the time is correct, the phone call is made at 4:46. You said the Porsche was seen leaving at what time?
At 4:53.
That would have left at a maximum, assuming the murder occurred right after the phone call and there was no time in between, about 7 minutes for the murder to take place for them. And then you said there was evidence of cleaning up, correct?
Yes, assuming you're correct, yes.
Okay. And there was also evidence, you said, of the suspects, the killers, traveling through the house, at least into some of the rooms, including the master bedroom, correct?
Yes, there were red stains throughout the residence, so yes, it appeared that something had happened after the fact.
Okay. So I take it you didn't try to figure out how much time that was. You just understood that it would have taken some minutes for that to occur.
Correct.
When you did your investigation, by the way, at the house, you were there the date. When you did your investigation, you were there on the actual date of the murder. You went up to the bedroom, is that correct, the master bedroom?
Yes.
You yourself?
Yes.
And you noticed some blood stains or red drops of blood in the bedroom, is that correct?
Red stains, yes, sir.
And those, as we have heard before, were all categorized and obtained and swabbed by Ms. Hawk, who was the criminalist, one of the criminalists on the scene. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure she swabbed every single stain, but she definitely recovered evidence.
Whatever she did, she
absolutely
told us.
Correct.
And whatever you found, you made sure that she was aware of, at least. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, at that point, you had some concern, I assume, that this might have been a no-knock burglary or some kind of a burglary gone bad?
It could have been, yes.
And so you were interested in whether or not items were taken or stolen, removed from the house as part of the burglary?
Yes, sir.
And there was a safe there, is that right?
There was.
And what did you find in the safe?
I wasn't present when the safe was actually opened. I believe that happened in the morning, and it was Detective Bucknell and I believe maybe Gutierrez that were present.
Okay, let me ask this.
Yeah.
You said in the morning.
Yes.
Which morning are we talking about?
The following morning. So my partner and I, when this happens, we're tasked with a bunch of different duties.
Sure.
Okay? So I believe it's around 2:30 in the morning. My partner and I left. We have reports to complete. So we returned to our station and began completing reports. There were detectives that remained at the scene while other things were continuing to happen.
Which detectives do you call?
Like I said, I believe Detective Bucknell and I believe Detective Gutierrez were present.
And that was the night that you were there?
Well, this is into the following morning, so this would now be the morning of the 24th.
Okay. So the night you were there, you went into the bedroom.
Yes.
And saw some ransacking, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you attempt to document what may or may not have been taken? Talking to Ms. Sementilli or anyone else?
So, yes, but Ms. Sementilli was not allowed back in the residence until the crime scene was cleared. So it would be impossible for me to talk to Ms. Sementilli about what had been taken without her actually walking into the room, which wasn't going to happen because we still had an active crime scene.
And that had nothing to do with her being a suspect or anything. You just made sure all the family had been removed from the home, so there was no in any way affecting the evidence there or in any way.
Correct, and I think it's safe to assume too that we're investigating a murder, although property was soon to be taken. the property itself at that point was not the focus. I mean, we're going to get to it, but it's not the focus in that moment.
Okay, but one of your tasks was to determine if this was an actual burglary and just gone bad and the individual was there and they came upon and killed him?
Yes.
Or whether or not this was not a burglary at all?
Sure.
So that night, though, you did not open the safe or ask that it be opened to determine what was in it, what was missing, or anything of that nature?
Again, I believe that was done the following morning.
Okay. You left that for Detective Bucknell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let me correct myself. The phone call that appears, the message from Fabio Sementilli was at 4:27.
Correct.
That sound better?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So it would have been from 4:27 to the time that the Porsche was seen leaving the location at, 4:53?
4:53.
That whatever occurred between that period of time, Fabio Sementilli was alive at 4:27.
I would certainly assume so.
Okay. As soon as you knew that the Porsche vehicle was missing and had been driven away, was there some, I forget what they call it from my old days when watching Highway Patrol, APB or some notification, look for that car?
So we don't use that terminology.
I know.
But yes, we put it out to the divisions that there was a vehicle taken in a homicide. We put what's called a felony stop on the vehicle. Although in this case it's difficult, there was no license plate attached to it. It had paper plates. So we put out the fact that there were paper plates on a black Porsche 911, which is a very, I would say, unique vehicle. And that's how it works.
And did you get any hits on that notification that vehicle had been seen or stopped by any officers or anyone
No.
else? You had checked, I assume, other video cameras in the area?
We did. It was a long process. There were a lot of residences that led up to Ventura Boulevard. So going back to the video, the vehicle's last seen going northbound in Oakdale. Oakdale leads out to, essentially, if you kept going north, you'd run into Ventura Boulevard. However, there's a east-west street called Wells Drive, I believe it is, that's a major artery south of Ventura Boulevard. So if you get to Wells Drive, you can make a east or west turn, or you can keep going north. But if you go east or west, there's multiple routes to get back to Ventura Boulevard. So this made us, this video gathering, very tedious.
And did it produce any results, though? In other words, had the Porsche been seen or caught in any video following the time it was seen leaving the residence and going down the Victoria?
As I sit here today, I don't recall, but I do recall that we made multiple attempts, and anything we saw was, as it pertained to our investigation, pretty inconsequential with video recovery.
What do you mean inconsequential with video?
Like, as far as the Porsche itself, we didn't recover anything that was going to help us aid in where that Porsche ultimately went to.
But it would aid you in knowing if there was any DNA in the vehicle that matched anyone on the data bank, which eventually you said matched Mr. Baker. Is
The
that
video
correct?
itself?
No, to find the Porsche vehicle to obtain any evidence from it.
Right, but you got to understand something.
Sure.
Okay? There's two of us that are working this case, and we have limited time within a day to go out and do all this stuff. So for me to go door knock 10 residences with cameras, it's doable, but that's going to require multiple days just to recover video, because I got to watch the video before I can recover it, correct?
Okay.
So it takes a long time to do this. So it's not something that happens like this.
Understood.
Yep.
And your personnel to assist you at that time was limited to yourself and Detective Parshall?
We did have some partners that we work with in our unit. However, they have their own cases. So I can ask them to go out and get stuff. Like we sent them out to LA Fitness and Target and Ralph's because we had particular time frames we could look at. And generally, with their systems, it's easy to recover because they have people that work loss prevention that can assist us with that. When I go to somebody's house, I don't know the system I'm working with. I got to figure that part out. I got to figure out if it's even recoverable. So there's multiple things that go into recovering systems from people's residences versus going to a business.
Okay. So between the night of the killing until the time you got the DNA results, how many days was that, approximately?
I'm sorry, just to make sure I'm understanding this correct. From the night of the killing to the time we got the results, or
Yes.
from the time the vehicle was recovered?
Yeah, the vehicle was recovered how many days later?
2 days later.
Okay. And how far was it from the scene of the murder?
I believe 3, maybe 4 miles, roughly.
And was it in plain view, or was it in any way hidden in some way? Did you notice?
It was parked on I would call it a pretty rural residential street in the city of Los Angeles. These are bigger properties, but not well traveled.
Okay. And that car was immediately impounded for evidence to be recovered, if possible, from the interior of the vehicle.
Correct.
And I assume among the evidence recovered was blood from the interior of the Porsche.
Yes, there were red stains inside the Porsche.
Were you present when that was done, or was that done by some other crime lab personnel?
I was present at the impound yard when the recovery was taking place, and I believe it was Kwan that recovered.
Okay. And was there blood elsewhere besides the driver's side of the vehicle? In other words, in the passenger side?
Yeah, I don't recall. I don't believe so.
What about, obviously, you had a lot of blood from the house, from the garage, kitchen area, patio area, and so forth.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. By the time you had recovered the Porsche, had you any results yet from any of the blood that had been recovered from the home?
No.
But I take it that was a priority immediately. Is that correct?
It was put in on a rush, but we don't dictate even what that means, or even if we get a rush on a case.
Okay. A rush means that it has to be transferred to what? Crime lab, DNA.
That we were asking for priority. There's thousands of cases in the city of Los Angeles that are all requesting DNA analysis on their cases, and we are asking for priority.
But this was your case.
It was myself and my partner.
Detective Parshall was designated the lead detective.
That is correct.
And he remained so throughout the time that you worked on the case. Is that right?
I mean, ultimately, it was transferred, I believe, somewhere in March to Robbery Homicide Division.
Okay, but we heard he had unfortunately passed away. That was after the work of you and he on this case. Is that correct?
August 21st, 2019.
Okay. And the arrest took place on?
June 14th, 2017, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for the time in which, after the arrest, did you remain on the case with Detective Parshall?
I was partners with Detective Parshall up until the time of his passing.
And during that period of time, I take it there was obviously an interest in trying to determine who the second killer was. Is that correct?
Yes, as far as the second person seen running up the street, absolutely.
Yes. You believe he was a participant, assuming it was a he, in the murder of Fabio Sementilli?
Well, we assumed they were in on it together. Yes, I don't know who did what at the time, but we assumed they were in on the crime together. Correct.
Okay. Now, between the time that you were present to examine the crime scene and the Porsche was recovered, or let me say the DNA was matched, what did you or Detective Parshall do to try to attempt to locate or identify the second killer?
Repeat your question one more time, please.
What did you do to try to identify the second individual?
You gave me some date and time frames.
Between the time that you were first there, the night of the killing, until you got the DNA results back identifying Mr. Baker.
Well, it's a little bit loaded question, sir. We didn't have anything, so we were looking at everything from burglary crews to gang members in South LA. We had no idea what we had, so we were doing everything possible to attempt to find out who either one of those individuals were.
Still operating on the assumption that it could have been a no-knock burglary, correct?
Absolutely.
And that's what you told Monica Sementilli that you were looking for primarily, correct?
Yes, and I want to make sure we get the terminology correct. It's not no knock; it would be knock knock.
Knock knock.
Correct.
Sorry.
Yes.
And knock knock meaning just a random burglary. Knock knock meaning you find out if someone's home. You tell me.
Yeah. So at the time of this, when this case occurred, there was, and for years prior and probably years after, there was a series of burglaries that were happening not only in the San Fernando Valley area, but in other areas of the city. Essentially where crews, usually of 3 people, would arrive at a neighborhood. They would go up to houses that I would assume they have checked out before, I'm not sure. But they'd go up to the front door, they'd knock on the residence. If there was no answer, they would go around the back of the residence, usually break in through a sliding glass door, burglarize the residence, and leave with the property. They were known as the flockers, but they were the knock-knock burglary crews.
And for how long would you say you investigated that as being one of the possible reasons for the burglary or the killing of Fabio Sementilli?
How long?
Yes, at some point you made a decision that this was not done by knock-knock burglars.
Yeah, I think it was February 14, 2017.
All right.
Yeah.
So you get the DNA results matching Mr. Baker, correct?
Correct.
There are no results matching a second individual.
That's correct.
You get information that Monica Sementilli had not been truthful with you about her contact with Mr. Baker. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I believe you made the statement something it appeared she was a little too friendly with Mr. Baker, correct?
Did I say that?
Yes.
Oh, when did I say that?
Previously when you were...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, sure, it sounds like something I could say.
Okay.
Yes.
And you had seen a photograph of Mr. Baker being at the family residence, is that correct?
Correct.
And he had, you said he had a Band-Aid on his finger, is that correct?
It appeared there was something on his finger, yes, in one of the photos.
Okay. So that in conjunction with what you had heard from Jessica caused you to believe that Monica Sementilli was not being honest with you about her relationship with Mr. Baker.
Correct.
That she was concealing it.
Yes.
Did you confront her with that?
No.
Object, Your Honor, this has been asked and answered.
It's overruled. But this is a good time for our morning recess. Let's take our morning recess for 15 minutes. The evidence applies. See you back in 15 minutes.
Okay, well, while they take their morning recess, we unfortunately cannot fast forward. So that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping, well, I can't do that anymore. Actually, let me go back to this. We'll stay here just in case they come back. Yeah, yeah. I missed being on rewatch where we could, you know, I could zoom, but no zooming. All right. Go up a little bit. So far we're just hearing from Detective Verna. We've heard from him the end of day 3, all of day 4, and now the beginning of day 5. So he's a big witness. But to me, the ones that are really going to be blockbuster are Baker and Austin. Yeah, and his partner Parcells, he passed away in August. August 21st, 2019, age 51. And Hey Mona was the one that said self-deletion. Yeah, Pammy. Hey Mona said it was possible self-deletion. I didn't see anything in his, I just was reading his obituary, or they blue, what did they call it? Blue Help. Gene R. Parshell. Gene was born and raised in Southern California. After college, he pursued his childhood dream of becoming a police officer and served in the LAPD for 25 years. He had a vast range of assignments until he found his calling as a detective. He spent over 15 as a homicide detective. He was known for his tenacity, compassion, interrogation skills, organization, and willingness to train and mentor less seasoned detectives. He made an impact, a positive impact, in the lives of people he worked with and came in contact with, including the families of the victims. Gene was universally liked and respected by his coworkers and was truly one of the good guys. A longtime coworker said, if one of my family members was the victim of M, I would want Jean Parshall on the case. He treated all of his cases with focus and dedication that, quite frankly, is not commonly found amongst his peers. Most of his cases were solved, the suspects arrested, convicted in a court of law, and they were put in prison where they belong. He brought justice for the victims of the crimes he investigated and for their loved ones who remain. Gene was a great partner, but was a better friend. Gene was a strong and faithful follower. He always reflected. He was an incredible husband, father, son, friend, partner, great detective. So that's all I could find so far on him. I didn't find any I don't see any news reports, but I'm not really digging too far. So yeah. All right, so far we've heard Ryan Verna, who is a retired homicide investigator. So they played Monica's calls 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And some big moments that came out of that was Fabio hasn't been ruled out as an aggressor. She's anxious and disappointed in the no results, because he kind of just keeps leading her along, stringing her along because they're investigating her, right? Detective has, so Monica talked to an insurance company and she wanted to know why Fabio hasn't been ruled out as an aggressor. And Parchell says he has no idea what that means. They never posed that to us. So the insurance company, which was MetLife and maybe some others, never said anything about that. On call number 10, detective talked to her dad. And then he asked who is Fabio's boss. Let's see. Then, Okay, so that was the phone calls. Then direct examination came up. So in addition to those recordings, were there also several dates Monica called and left voicemail? Verna says, I believe so, yes. So they cleared Fabio's children with MetLife, but not Monica, because they had plans to arrest Monica and Robert. Around the time when Monica was planning to go to New York. The June 9th phone call was just a ruse while arrest warrant was being typed up. And they put GPS trackers on both Robert and Monica's vehicles. We knew that. I didn't know they put it on Isabella's Fiat as well. And they did that because Monica would drive that car as well. So they had trackers on her and on Robert. So then cross-examination comes in. After DNA matched to Baker on February 14th, you could have arrested him then. He said, sure. He said, Baker's blood was all over. No results for a second individual. He said, correct. You knew there was a second killer, though. He said, yes. Did you tell Monica that Baker was a killer? And he said, no. Had some belief Monica was having a relationship. It wasn't until February 21st. So this happened January 23rd. So February 21st, they found out about the relationship with Monica and Baker, Robert Baker, because Jessica told law enforcement about Baker sleeping over. And I think we heard that in opening, that Monica's like, well, he just got drunk and he slept over. I didn't want him driving home. Did you ever confront Monica that she was having an affair with Robert? Verna said no. Monica told law enforcement that Baker was her racquetball coach from LA Fitness. How much time passed from DNA results from Baker to having knowledge of the affair? He said roughly about a week. And then they're kind of talking about the timing. So it was assuming that the killers, that Fabio called his company at 4:46. So that never really came in. I'm not sure where they got that information from. That Fabio was on the phone, we know that from the housekeeper, Delia, right? Delia Pacheco. So we found out that Fabio was on the phone, but we didn't know. We don't have confirmation it was 4:46. So if the killers arrive at I think it took them 35 minutes to do all this, right? And so they left at 4:53. When did they come in? I thought they came in. Hold on a sec. When did they come in? All right, hold on. Sorry. They came in. Just trying to find. Okay, so 3:47 to 4:54. 3:47 to 4:54 is roughly their time. Oh, at 4:18, that's when the two guys jogging. So at 4:18, and now there's, okay, so 4:39 to 4:53. All right, so that's the time frame we're looking at. So then defense is just kind of trying to figure out, you know, they did all this, you know, they even tried to clean up in this time frame. Not quite sure where he's going with all this questioning. Oh, then we heard about knock knock, and they were also called flockers. So there were a series of burglaries where a three-person crew would arrive in a neighborhood and they would knock on your door, and they would, if you opened the door, they would take off or whatever. If you didn't open the door, they would walk around and try and break in. So they thought this was a knock knock burglary. So, and that catches us up. Let's see. So with Comcast working in the neighborhood, we're actually doing pretty good. Let's see. 3 guys jogging. Wait, where did that come up? Band name? Oh, Baca, you retracted it? Okay. Let's see. Oh, there. 2 guys jogging. Okay. 2 guys jogging. Band name. Yes. Child Junkies United. Thanks. It's been a crazy morning. Yep. Lily Wayne. Folding maps are old GPS. I still have some in my glove compartment. I love maps. I remember as a kid, you know, we would travel around, and my mom was the navigator, so I'd always be hanging out with her, looking at the maps. I love maps. Child Junkies United. Let's hope they use more than the duct tape to fix things. Yeah. Yeah. 2 guys jogging, then getting into a Porsche. Totally normal. So this was like a complex. Yeah, it wasn't like a single house. With their faces covered, therapist, you know, yeah. And their hands were covered too. They had their hands covered, and then they had hoodies on, and they were cinched up, so you could only, you know, you can only see their mouths. Yeah, 5 days in, and we're only, we've 5 witnesses, 5th day, 5 witnesses. Oh, Brenda, I'm glad you like the updates, especially since I missed some of the beginning. No problem. We always give updates at the breaks. Thank you, Pammy. Widespread panic. I'm guessing no senior citizens on that street. No one called the police. Queen Olive Ruth Ann, good to see you in the chat. You're home and on your laptop. Cool. Yeah, nobody called the police. For what though? Because these guys are jogging and they don't have their faces being shown. Certainly suspicious. Worthy of calling the police? Not sure. Maybe. Trial Junkies United, especially the one dude wasn't a little dude, so getting in that Porsche wouldn't have been easy. Yeah, I think Baker was smaller, maybe 5'6" or 5'7". Krista Austin, I'm not quite sure how tall he is. He probably had more difficulty getting in and out of that. Widespread panic for the joggers and masks. Very sus, for sure. Okay. Ken Rosenberg. Seriously, try pulling that in my grandma's neighborhood. She's already got the phone ready when she sees the mailman coming down the street. That's funny. Trial Junkies United, good point. Since this was before COVID and had their faces covered, I would have called the cops. Yeah, especially with all these burglaries that they were talking about. Okay. Yeah, Krista, limited edition. That's what I'm waiting for. Baker and Austin's testimony. That is the one. Irish Amy, is Monica in prison or out on bail at the moment? She is in jail. She's not in prison. She's in jail. Prison is when after you're, convicted. So she remains behind bars. We have that in our description at the very end. I always try to put, in the description a lot, but at the end, just so you guys know, I always try to put they're out on bail, they were denied bail, they're in jail. I always try to put that. So that's, if you're ever asking or ever wondering, I always try to put that, and it's always at the bottom. So just so you guys know, if you're ever looking for that information. And if it's not there, let me know and find it, and then we'll put it in. Because I like to have a certain structure, so that we always know that at the end of our descriptions, before the hashtags, you can see that. Yeah, Justice, I wonder if she'll testify. That'll be interesting. It's definitely Baker and Austin. Those are going to be the two, because they're going to be dueling. Usually we have the battle of the experts. This go around, it's going to be the battle of the plea deals, because Baker took a plea, no contest, and he's in for life. Austin took a plea, and he's eligible if he testifies truthfully. So that's the defense is going to tear him down because he's got a reason to testify. Yes, thank you, Ken. Appreciate that, Krista. Yep, it's there. Yep. Lily Wayne, I don't get the feeling that she will testify. Yeah, I'm not quite sure where I stand with that yet. Green-eyed cat. I was always a navigator too. I can read VFR maps for my pilot friend too. Very cool. That's cool. Always been a big fan of maps. Yeah, Trial Junkies United. The heavy sighs while she's on the stand. Oh my. And the smirking. Well, her expressions are like, tell us, right? Isn't that what we're feeling? Like she has the many faces of Monica Sementilli. And just says, is Baker going to throw her under the bus? I don't know. He's going to say it was all him and she had nothing to do with it. At least that's what he gave an interview to 48 Hours, I think. And they asked him, is this all a gift for her, what you're doing? And, they said that, I was reading it and he didn't seem to think. Gina Farley says, I think Austin feels betrayed by Baker, but we'll see. Julie, good afternoon to you. Hey, Mona, I think the prosecutor will tear down Baker with videos, pictures, letters, and recordings during his testimony. Yeah. Pammy, I'm not going to read that. But I hear what you're saying. And being a truck driver, he doesn't know how to read a map? That's interesting. How did he sort that out? Yeah, Trial Junkies United, all it would take is his past conviction. They already talked about that. That's how we found out. I think. Wait a minute. Did we find out about that? I don't think we did, now that I'm thinking. I don't know. Irish Amy, I'm guessing Baker is defense witness at this point. Yes. Yes, he's defense. Austin's going to be prosecution. Widespread panic. Austin was betrayed by Baker, but why he ever agreed to unalive someone he deserves prison? Yes. It's 12:28. Yes. He was a memory type driver. All right. Thomas Guides. I'm not familiar with that, but I'm guessing those are maps. Shirley Roth. Austin thought he was getting money. Yeah, he was getting the insurance for sure. Therapist, you know, is handing out food. That looks like cheese. I'll take some cheese. Yeah, we're going to eat at lunch break, which I'm guessing is going to be 3 our time, which would be noon their time. So everything gets shifted for us. Yeah, I agree with that, Trial Junkies United. I can usually drive back somewhere if I've been there before, but I know how to read a map too. Yes. Pammy says, same. I love maps. I've always been, I just love maps. I always did really well in geography. I was good in geography. So how long is this? This supposed to be a 15-minute break, Judge?
Resume. So this building, everything goes wrong in this building. Last week it was colder than the Antarctic here. Now it's kind of warm. I don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow. So dress like it's winter and summer. Detective Verda, you're still under oath, and the defense may continue.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Detective Verda, you testified to, or what was played for you, were a series of phone calls between Monica Sementilli and you or Detective Parshall. Is that correct?
Correct.
And there were even more phone calls that you were not privy to because you were on just one side of the conversation and it was not recorded.
Yes.
So is it fair to say that she called many times to ask for an update on the case?
Yes.
And whenever you needed information from her, you called her?
Correct.
And that included some walkways, walkthroughs of the house, again, even after the initial night of the murder. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, many of those phone calls to you had to do with the DNA evidence. Do you recall that?
She was asking for updates, yes. I don't know specifically. There were times where she asked about what we found in the Porsche, if anything had come back, yes. So I guess we could assume that's about DNA. I don't know if the word DNA were ever brought up.
Well, the idea was trying to identify the persons who killed her husband.
Yes.
That's how she presented it. And each time you indicated that, first, that there were many swabs you had to turn over, like 145, something like that, and you had to do it in sections, and it took a while to do that. Remember that?
Yes.
This was after you had already gotten the match of Baker as matching his DNA matching the blood in the car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what you told her about the delay in obtaining the results of the blood comparisons was not true. It was a lie.
Information's a two-way street, sir. We were getting a lot of lies on our side, too.
Your Honor, we motion to strike.
Okay.
I have no doubt that whatever Ms. Sementilli said has been played for the jury, and we'll get to that. I'm talking about what you said. Okay?
We did not tell her the truth.
Okay. From the very, well, I assume the first night you were there and you questioned her about the murder, you told her the truth and you felt she was answering the truth as well.
Yes.
Okay. It was only on February 14th when you got the DNA results that you decided to do a ruse, as they say. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. That was a decision by you and Detective Parsha, is that right?
Yes.
And did it involve the District Attorney's Office?
No.
At some point, did you involve the District Attorney's Office in your investigation in terms of their input or what they wished you to do or not do?
I believe at one point, Detective Castro, our supervisor, had reached out to the DA's office, but that was really about it. I don't think there was a ton of input from their side.
Was there an approval of your deciding, even though you had sufficient evidence, not to go out and arrest Robert Baker?
Well, I'm sorry, repeat it again?
Was there an approval by the District Attorney's Office, as far as you knew, not to go out and arrest Robert Baker as soon as you found his blood all over the house and in the car?
I'm going to object calls for speculation and hearsay.
That's form system.
Did you seek any approval of the District Attorney's Office to halt or to wait on any arrest of Robert Baker?
Never once in my 20 years in law enforcement have I ever sought out the advice of the DA's office on how to handle a particular case, especially when it comes down to an arrest.
Okay. So that is left at least, well, let's just stick with this case. This was left entirely to you and Detective Harshal, is that correct?
The immediate decision, yes, although we do consult with our own supervision. Sure.
Okay. So did you have to get permission from your supervisors not to go out and arrest Robert Baker, even though you had sufficient cause to do so?
No.
It was your decision?
Yes.
Okay. And it was your decision from that point on to lie to Monica Sementilli every time you spoke to her about the progress of the case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And each time she asked you about, what about the DNA, hasn't it been submitted, anything of that nature, your response was, we've tried, it's a lot of DNA, correct?
Yes.
At one time you said it's all coming back to Fabio Sementilli, the matches, so that's not helping us, correct?
Correct.
On numerous occasions, and you correct me if I'm wrong, perhaps on every occasion you spoke to her, you said, don't worry, we'll get there, we'll find it, we'll solve this, just be patient.
Yes, sir.
But we can't tell you the progress of the case other than that, correct?
Correct.
And the reason for that is from the moment you got the positive match on the DNA, you decided that your investigation was going to focus on Monica Sementilli, correct?
No, it focused on Robert Baker, and what Baker's activities were encompassed Monica Sementilli.
Okay. But Robert Baker, you could have arrested at any time after you got the DNA match, correct?
Sure.
What you were looking for is evidence involving Robert Baker and Monica Sementilli.
We were building a case, sir.
Okay. Building a case based on a belief that because she was having an affair with Mr. Baker, she likely was involved in the murder as well.
It definitely raised some suspicions.
Okay, fair enough. And a result of those suspicions, you engaged in an investigation that was quite detailed and involved quite a few officers and so forth to try and follow the steps and find the conduct, anything you could determine regarding the relationship between Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker.
Yes.
And that involved search warrants to get records of messages, text messages, anything of that nature, correct?
That's very common in most every case I've ever done.
Okay, and it was common in this case as well?
Yes.
But I assume it's not common in every case to have the parties tailed or officers placing a vehicle right next to theirs to try to overhear what they were saying, things of that nature?
Every case is unique.
Okay. And again, that was evidence to document the relationship between Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker.
At that point, yes.
Okay. That continued from February 14th until the arrest, which was not until June of 2017. Is that correct?
I believe so.
So we're talking about 4 or 5 months. Is that correct?
Yeah, roughly.
And during that period of time, Robert Baker, who you had every reason to believe was a cold-blooded killer, was left on the street. Correct?
Yes.
As was, not your intention, but as was whoever his partner was. Correct?
Yes, sir.
You could have arrested Mr. Baker and asked him who his partner was, or tried to make some kind of a deal with him if the district attorney's office agreed, or taken a lot of different steps to determine the second killer, correct?
Could have.
You did not.
Did not.
The focus was on Monica Sementilli at that time.
Focus was on building a case, sir.
Against Monica Sementilli.
We wanted to find the truth of what happened, and I believe we did.
I understand. And that's why you're here testifying.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's why we have a jury to decide whether it's been proven or not.
Object to counsel's soliloquy and ask that.
That's correct. It's getting argumentative now. Let's proceed, please.
Thank you. But the focus was on her and Mr. Baker, correct?
At that point, yes.
Okay. And again, it involved following her, videoing contact she had with Mr. Baker. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you involved personally in that, or was that, for lack of a better word, farmed out to another agency of the police department?
It's farmed out, and I can explain why if that helps.
Well, I assume it has to do with personnel.
It's one reason, yes.
And they're better equipped to do that because they do narcotics and tailing and things of that nature?
Yes, not only better equipped, but they also have special training as far as following people and the vehicles to do so and everything else. So,
but the you had to give them, you or Detective Parshall, the instructions as to what you wanted them to do.
correct.
All right? And I assume that took place over a series of meetings and so forth.
Yes.
And the instructions were, I know you said to build a case, but let's get more specific.
Mm-hmm.
Were the instructions to follow her and him whenever they could?
I don't know about whenever they could. They also have other, assignments they're doing. So,
Who chose then when and how they would be followed or tailed?
I believe it was based on their availability.
Okay.
Yeah.
And their instructions were to, what, follow her from her residence or wherever she was going on particular days, correct?
Yes, to see the kind of activity that was going on.
All right. And also to follow Mr. Baker, correct?
Yes.
All right. Was Mr. Baker followed every day, as far as you know,
It's
during that
impossible.
4 or 5 month period?
No, it's impossible.
Okay, obviously. So again, during that time period, you were aware that a murderer was on the streets who could have murdered again, correct?
Your Honor, that falls under speculation.
It's argumentative. Sustain on that ground.
All right. You were aware that Mr. Baker, in your opinion, was a cold-blooded killer, correct?
Been asked and answered twice now.
It's cumulative.
And he was followed only at times that it was convenient for robbery, homicide, or narcotics to do so, correct?
Correct.
Did you give them any specific orders as to when to do that, or was that left entirely up to them?
It was left up to them.
As well as following Monica Sementilli, is that correct?
Correct.
In the meantime, you were engaged in continuous contact with Monica Sementilli, correct?
Yes, when she called, or when Detective Parshall decided to call her, yes.
Okay. And when Detective Parshall decided to call her, do you know, was that on his impetus, or was that to return a call from her?
I think there was both.
Okay. I assume you did not find it unusual that the spouse of a killed husband, assuming she was innocent, would also be calling and wanting to know what the stage was in the investigation, correct?
Sure.
Okay. So in doing so, you expected perhaps that to occur on numerous occasions, correct?
Yes.
And on many of those occasions, there was no mention of life insurance or anything of that nature.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
It had mostly to do with, can you tell me what's going on? Why haven't you solved this? What about the DNA? And so forth and so on.
I don't know if mostly is the proper term, but yes, there was questions involved of all types.
Okay. And in all fairness, we have heard the actual conversations with transcripts documenting the nature of the calls, the exact contents of the calls, where they were from her to you or you to her, and so forth and so on.
Correct.
Would you say they accurately reflected the conversations and the contacts between you and Detective Pershall and Monica Sementilli?
Yes, 100%.
Were there any other individuals in LAPD or on the case, as far as you know, who were contacting or being contacted by Monica Sementilli?
Not in regular contact, no. I mean, there may have been a random phone call or something. She may have talked to our supervisor at some point. I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I assume many times it was her leaving a message, and the person who would call back would be you and Detective Pershall.
Correct.
And again, every time that occurred, you were able to tape record that conversation. Is that correct?
I'm going to object again, that misstates the evidence.
I'll rephrase the question,
Very good.
Your Honor. The best you could, you were able to tape record those conversations, unless it was a conversation between Pershall and her, and you had not had the ability to record her side of the conversation.
Every effort was made to record the conversations.
Some you were not able to do.
Correct.
Now, at some point, in fact, in the very beginning, on the first day that you had gone to the scene and gone through the residence and spoken to Monica Sementilli, you had asked her, you said something like, is this a dumb question, but do you have life insurance? And she had mentioned she wasn't sure, maybe with MetLife, the company that he works for, correct?
I believe she said that there was a policy, but only for the son, not her son, but Fabio's son. And I don't recall what the actual terminology was, but yes, there was possibly a company policy, maybe some stock options.
Okay.
Like that.
So possibly a company policy,
Right.
But there was a separate policy that Fabio Sementilli, to her knowledge, had taken out for Luigi, his son by his first marriage. Is that correct?
That's what I recall.
Okay. Now, you became aware at some point that the insurance with MetLife was not just for Monica Sementilli, but was divided between her and her two children, correct?
Yes.
Jessica and Isabella, correct?
Correct.
And I take it that at no time did you have any question about whether or not they were involved somehow in illegal conduct or the murder of their father.
Correct.
So from the very beginning, you informed MetLife that the insurance for the two girls, as far as you were concerned, could be paid?
So I wasn't privy to that conversation. I believe that was Detective Pershall that handled that. So I don't know what exactly was spoken about, but yes, I'll agree with you that we did not believe that the girls were involved.
And Detective Pershall is the one who dealt with that?
Yes.
Why?
Well, this was his case. I was assisting him on it, so he was the primary detective and had those conversations.
But there were many times we heard on the tape that there was some conversation about sending in some form or the LA Police Department doing something with the company regarding the payment of the insurance, correct?
Correct.
And that had to do with clearing one or more of the parties, correct?
Yes.
At some point we heard a colloquy involving was Fabio the aggressor. And obviously he was not in this case, as far as you know, correct?
Correct.
But that would be one of the questions that the insurance company would be interested in terms of paying his policy.
Yes.
I'm going to object. Calls for speculation, move to strike.
It would. The answer's already in. Your motion's denied.
Did you make it clear to MetLife or the insurance company that the two children should be paid?
Again, I didn't have discussions with MetLife regarding that.
But when Monica kept bringing it up, you became aware that they had not yet been paid their shares of the life insurance from their father, correct?
Object again. Congratulations.
We heard on the tape recording the question came up about you filling out forms or LAPD filling out forms for the insurance company, correct?
Same objection. It's been asked and answered 3 times.
It's overruled.
Are we talking about the date, I believe it was June 14th? Is that the call we're talking about?
Fair enough, yes?
Yeah, again, that was a ruse, that there was a secretary filling out a form to release the life insurance.
But why was there a ruse about the 2 children?
There wasn't a ruse about the 2 children. That was in regards to her.
So it is your testimony as far as you knew that LAPD was putting causing no problems or any hold on any life insurance for the 2 girls.
That's my understanding.
Did you yourself ever determine whether or not in those several months until the arrest of Monica Sementilli, whether the children had ever been paid the life insurance?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
My point is, when she was calling up, at times talking about the life insurance, were you clear as to whether or not she was talking about herself or her children? Or was that, again, Detective Parshall?
Again, I didn't have any dealings with the life insurance company at all. My understanding was she was talking about her personal policy. I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. You didn't follow through as far as the children were concerned and so forth.
It's a third party that's dealing with that. It's not our police department.
But, okay, someone in the police department is in charge of that, but not you.
Correct.
Okay. At any time during the course of your investigation until the arrest of Monica Sementilli, did you ever cease lying to her about the case?
I would object it's vague as to what particular issue.
It's overruled.
So from the moment this case started until the end of the case, I think there was plenty of times we spoke truthfully to her. There was obviously times where we used tactics to not give her specific information that could be used to identify what we were working on. We knew she had a relationship going with Mr. Baker at some point, and of course if we decided to say that, Mr. Baker, his DNA is in the vehicle and it's in the house, our case goes in the toilet. So.
Well, okay, your case goes in the toilet at any time that you said Mr. Baker was the second individual. Is that what you're saying? Was the killer of Fabio Sementilli?
Right. Based on the evidence it's seen that came back to Mr. Baker, knowing that Mr. Baker and Monica were in a relationship of some sort, we believed that there would be destruction of evidence the moment that we went and said to her, hey, by the way, the person you're having a relationship with, his blood's at your house.
And you could not have gotten search warrants and so forth to serve on Mr. Baker concurrent with his arrest, for instance?
That was done.
That was done?
Yes.
Okay. So at any time you could have gotten, and you did at some point, get search warrants for Mr. Baker and his residence, correct?
Could have, yes.
But you didn't do that until the arrest that took place in June.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Did you get periodic reports from the officers who were entrusted or assigned to do the following of Mr. Baker and Monica Sementilli, updates on what they had uncovered or what they found?
Yes.
And how often did that take place?